We all know white people are known for a lot of things. Love of coleslaw, hate of spices, or built-in resistance to the law, to name a few. But one of my favourite things about them is all the phrases they have. And seeing as I am one of these so-called crackers, I'd say I'm highly educated on this subject. So using my expert opinion, I'm going to rank all of them from 1 to 10 and decide which one is the best once and for all.
Let's go!
Number 1. You're on thin ice. First up, we got an absolute classic. You're on thin ice. Oh, if someone says this to you, you better back off, man, because you know you're in some real danger. I'd say this is probably the second warning a white person will give you if you're really starting to get on their nerves. To be fair, there are better phrases in the same category, which we'll see coming up. But this is a real solid one and a real staple in the culture. I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. Number 2. You're barking up the wrong tree. Now this one is a real work of art because of the nuance that it's got. Not only can it be used as a light warning like the last one, but it can also be used to highlight someone's foolishness. A truly versatile phrase. I'd say that this one is probably a less severe warning than being on thin ice, but even then it's a real intimidating phrase. I'd probably rate this one a little higher than the last just because of its multiple uses. 7 out of 10. Number 3. You in what army? I don't even need to give this one an explanation before giving it a 10 out of 10. Absolutely diabolical phrase to have pulled out on you. Imagine the situation. You're in an argument with a white person, you're getting really heated, telling them you're going to start beating the shit out of them or something. And then... Oh yeah? You in what army? Instant argument loss, absolutely perfect phrase, 10 out of 10. Number 4. Whatever floats your boat. Now let's get away from the more negative phrases and get to something more lighthearted. Whatever floats your boat is honestly a great phrase in many ways. Not only is it funny, it's also a great philosophy. Something you don't agree with? Hey man, whatever floats your boat. I feel like this one really resonates with like the cool uncle types, you know, the ones that don't really get stuff but are still chill. It is worth noting that it can be used in a derogatory way, but I think the positives outweigh the negatives. I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Number 5. Live, laugh, love. Now, this one is more of a concept than a phrase, you know? People don't actually say live, laugh, love in conversation. Or at least I hope they don't.
Huh?
This, for especially like middle-aged white women, is a way of life. You've seen it before. You walk into their house and instantly get flashbanged with it. Bathroom? Live, laugh, love. Hallway? Live, laugh, love. Coffee mugs, hanging signs, decorations everywhere. I will say personally I'm not a fan of this one. That's probably because surprisingly I'm not a middle-aged white woman. 2 out of 10. Number 6. I've had it up to here. Now getting back to the more threatening phrases, this one is a real banger. This gotta be the most threatening white person phrase for sure. You know when they bust this one out, you've really made them lose their marbles. You hear this one off of teachers pretty often, and me personally, I've even heard it off my parents a good few times. You know it's time to cut that shit if your dad starts talking about some I've had it up to here with whatever the hell you were doing. I think for sheer intimidation, this one gotta be highly rated. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Number 7. How about them apples? Going more old school with this phrase, I don't think people even say this anymore, but it's definitely solidified itself in the overall cracker vocabulary. Me personally though, I can't get behind it, it's just too corny. It's funny as hell if someone hits out with this after like a close Clash Royale game or something, but it's only funny because it's cringe. I'm sure back in the day this one was like a real force to be reckoned with, but unfortunately it just doesn't hold up. I'm gonna have to give this one a 4 out of 10. Number 8. Just gonna squeeze or sneak right past you. Okay, this is the first one that I have to admit that I'm guilty of using too.
You got me.
It just makes sense, you know? You're trying to get past someone, but you don't want to be rude, so you just bust out the just gonna squeeze right past you. This one, I think out of all the ones so far, has to be the most widely used phrase. It's even started to branch out beyond white people. I mean, I have friends that aren't white and say this shit too, man, so it's gotta be highly rated just for the influence that it has. On top of that, you can choose between squeeze and sneak based on your preference, making it pretty versatile. Me personally, I'm more of a squeeze user, but you know, it's just preference. 8.5 out of 10. Number 9. Hate to burst your bubble. This one is another one in the same vein as you're barking up the wrong tree. Although I have to admit, I probably prefer this one. Just like you in What Army, it can also be used as an instant argument winner, using it as a finisher when you realize how wrong your opponent actually is. It can also be used more casually with friends in a joking way, but its real value is in an argument. Seeing as it's a pretty multi-use phrase, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Number 10. The use of buddy or pal. Now, I know this is also not really a phrase, but bear with me because I've saved the best until last. I'll tell you right now, this is by far the best thing on this list, and it's probably not even close. Here's the proof. Go back to any phrase on this list, apart from live, laugh, love, obviously, and add the words buddy or pal to them. You in What Army, pal? You're on thin ice, buddy. Hate to burst your bubble, pal. It's just so peak. Pretty much every single white person phrase can be improved upon by using either of these words. So for that reason, I gotta give it an 11 out of 10. Absolute peak of the mountain, no contest. So, that's my scores for all these phrases. Here's a tier list for them if you skip to the end of the video and you just want to see the scores. Of course, this is nowhere near the entire collection of white person vocab that has been created over the years, but since this is just my first video, I don't want to make it like half an hour long talking about everything every white person has ever said. There are other bangers worth mentioning, like what's the damage when you get the bill, why I oughta when you start shaking your fist, and an absolute banger with newsflash, but I mean, I could just keep going forever. If I were to put these 3 on the tier list as well, I'd probably put what's the damage in here, why I oughta in here, and newsflash in here. Let me know if you agree with my scores or if you think I fucking suck and should kill myself because my scores are so shit. If you have any suggestions for any more videos you'd like to see, feel free to comment them down below, but do not ask me to do black people phrases. I'm not doing that. And if you could subscribe, that would be incredible. I have more dumb videos like this coming out, so if you're interested, make sure to smash that subscribe on some chill shit.
We just sold out all the floors.